15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Coming to you live from Pier 17 in the South Street Seaport and brought to you by delicious Heineken beer. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose, the Heat beat the Trae Young-less Hawk last night, but the story is none other than Kendrick Nunn. He had 28 points, and get this, he has scored more points in his first 5 games than anyone except for Kevin Durant and Jerry Stackhouse. Jalen, what do you think about this rookie that seemingly has come out of nowhere for the Heat?
He's a lefty. He's athletic. He's strong. He competes defensively. His collegiate career was derailed by some personal issues away from the floor. Has always been talented. And this is what I say constantly into this microphone. 2 words, player development.
Yep.
Eric Spoelstra does a terrific job of taking players that need a little polish and turning them into performers on the floor. Look at Bam Adebayo, the exact same thing. In that culture, they're going to make sure that they highlight guys that bring effort and toughness. And so much is being said about players that change teams this offseason. Remember, Jimmy Butler left an opportunity to play with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons to go be the guy in Miami. Okay, let's not forget that. And so I want to applaud how flying under the radar when we talk about teams in the Eastern Conference, the Heat have got off to a great start.
They really have. And you mentioned player development. You know, Tyler Hero, we talk about all the time. But Bam Adebayo, and then they've got like Derrick Jones Jr. and Kendrick Nunn himself. And one of the things I want to ask you about Kendrick Nunn is he was in the Warriors system last year. You look at the injuries of Klay Thompson, the injuries of Steph Curry, and then you see what Nunn has been doing. Do you think people in the front office of the Warriors are asking each other questions about what happened with Kendrick Nunn?
I don't think so, because here's what ended up happening. The Warriors were so very good over a 5-year period that it was championship or bust. They were the elite super team. And at that point, there becomes a tipping part to where you can't keep everybody and continue to maximize. You can't continue to develop young players because you don't have the time to. You got the Splash Brothers, you got Andre Iguodala, you got Sean Livingston, you got Kevin Durant. So they had so many players, they didn't have the necessary time, in theory, on the floor to develop somebody new into their situation.
Well, the Atlanta Hawks have a very young core. They're trying to develop their players as well. And one of the sort of overlooked rookies that they have is Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish did something on a basketball court that I have never seen before. Check out this play here, Jalen. That's 1 spin, 2 spins. Jalen Rose, is the double spin move the future of the NBA?
Not at all. That's called being out of control. That's why it was a brick that almost gave the logo a concussion on the backboard. And that's why the team was like, we going the other way. Let's go. We out of here. So that is not the new wave. That was an out of control. That should have been a turnover instead of a missed shot.
That's hilarious. Jalen, Kevin Durant was on First Take yesterday, and we talked about him saying Draymond had a piece of him leaving the Warriors, and he made some really interesting statements. But there's one thing that you specifically wanted to discuss, and that was him saying the 5 players that he likes to watch the most. Let's listen to KD on First Take.
I'm going to give you the 5 players I like in the league. Obviously, Kyrie, LeBron, James Harden, Joel Embiid. I'm missing a lot of guys I enjoy, but Damian Lillard, probably the last guy. But, I mean, so many great players. The name's just 5, but all of those guys, I just enjoy watching them play.
Jalen, what stood out to you about his list?
So a couple of things stood out about his list. Kevin Durant has played with 3 players that have won MVP of the NBA. James Harden, while he was in Houston, Russell Westbrook, while he was in the Oklahoma City Thunder, and Stephen Curry as a Golden State Warrior. And the year that Steph won MVP, his team also won 73 games, beat Kevin Durant's team in the playoffs, and Kevin Durant went and joined their team. So I've seen KD do a couple of lists of players, but it continues to boggle my mind how he purposely not only leaves off Russ, but leaves off Steph. You had to enjoy what the Warriors were doing because you went and joined them and then won 2 championships with them.
Good point.
That's the thing that basically stood out to me about his list.
So, Jalen, sometimes you prepare for the show. You know, sometimes you prepare for the show and you put in some work and you're a very creative mind. And you and I were going to put together our list, but you put a twist on it that was really helpful. You said, you know what, anyone can make a list and say James Harden and Kyrie Irving. But what we did is we made our list of players that we enjoy watching that have never, ever made an all-star team. That was a nice twist. So let's take a look at your list and you kind of walk us through your decision making.
Because it's always important to me to go deeper in the box score. And a lot of times when I'm watching League Pass, you're going to highlight all of the big-time players that have been so very accomplished in the game. But look at this list of guys right here. Look at those numbers, by the way. C.J. McCollum, his team made it to the conference finals last year. Donovan Mitchell took the league by storm in Utah. They're a contender now. Kyle Kuzma needs to be that third piece for the Los Angeles Lakers to take that leap. Devin Booker has scored 70 points in a basketball game already in his young career.
Woo.
And the Phoenix Suns have got off to a terrific start. So those are the guys I want to make sure I give love. And lastly, I know he's dealing with an injury right now. Nobody in the league has made more shots from 30 feet and beyond than Trae Young.
Great point.
He's a terrific playmaker, and he has unlimited range. So those are my top 5 players that aren't on Jacoby's list, that haven't been all-stars, that I enjoy watching.
Yeah, see, you know I love fancy passes. You know, that's my favorite thing. So I was so mad when you took Trae Young. I was so mad when you took Trae Young. I love fancy passes, especially if they're unnecessary. So let's take a look at my list really quick of players that have never been an all-star that I love to watch. Luka Doncic.
You look so handsome.
Luka Doncic, Tyler Hero. I think they photoshopped me in a suit. Patrick Beverley, Pascal Siakam, and my guy, LaMelo Ball. I might move to Australia. I legit might move to Australia because I love Melo Ball so much. I love LaMelo Ball, and I'm going to predict right now that he will be a top 2 pick in next year's draft. What he is doing against grown men in Australia is really impressive. And Jalen, someone from your list